This is a reminder. Hold the people you love a little bit tighter. Let them know how you feel about them. I've heard a couple people today say, he's just a race car driver. No, he was much more than that. I met Greg his rookie year driving for Roush Racing in the Craftsman Truck Series. What started out as, looking for men and women in law enforcement to help with security for events that they were attending, maybe tagging along on public appearances, just, not to get in the way, but just to make sure that people would mind their manners with these guys. Because to some, you got people that have football players as heroes, baseball players, hockey players, actors, and yes, race car drivers that are their heroes. And while I won't get into the debate with some who say that these guys aren't athletes, I'll just say get one of those cars and drive it for 500 miles. But imagine doing that if you've ever had your power steering go out on your car. Driving that car without power steering at 200 miles an hour for 500 miles. And the only break you get is when you come down pit road to get tires on a full tank of gas, go back out there and keep going. There's no rest stops for pee breaks or stopping to grab McDonald's on the way from point A to point B. Greg was a friend. He treated everybody equally. It didn't matter whether he was sitting at a table talking to Jack Roush, the owner of the team, or talking to the guy mopping the floor at the local Walmart. Everybody got treated the same. And he was one of the mindset that, okay, I'm kind of famous. I got money, but I'm just a guy that makes his money racing cars. He was a human being. He was a husband. He was a father. And he was a friend. And it took me a while to come up with the words to say and how to say them. Today started out, well, you're seeing this on Friday morning. I'm filming this Thursday night. This morning, got some outstanding news. Just having a great day. Went out to lunch with my son, celebrated the fact that I get to go back to work the first of the year. That I'm completely healed up. And, something's finally going right after 3 months of nothing going right. Get home, and son's still here, and we're going to make some dinner and have dinner together before he headed home tonight. And then my phone buzzes, and it was one of those messages you don't want to get. And Greg and I haven't talked in a really long time. I mean, he eventually retired from NASCAR. He was still racing. He was, he had a YouTube channel. He was still racing like some of the small local series. putting his priorities on being a dad, being a husband, and being the best he could be at that. But as I looked at some pictures from days gone by, taking my son when he was still in a stroller to a Ford racing event. All the guys that drove Fords were there, from the three major big NASCAR series, the Truck Series, it was then the Craftsman Truck Series, the Busch Grand National Series, and the Winston Cup Series. They were all there, to meet and greet and rub elbows with the fans and show off their cool cars and you name it. And I take my son over because the kids don't get to go to the shop, especially at that age. And I took my son up to meet Greg and one of our Truck Series drivers that was there that day. And Greg looks at me and says, "Get him out of the stroller. Get him up here so I can talk to him." Which, the security at the event wasn't having that, but, who's going to argue with the celebrity? So I have a picture of my son sitting up there on the counter where they were signing autographs, sitting there with Greg. And then we slid him over so he could get his picture taken with John Wood, who was the Truck Series driver that was there. And that's just the way Greg was. Greg was about his fans. Greg was about human beings. Quiet as it was kept, it did make it into the media that when Uncle Sam basically forgot about the hurricane victims from Hurricane Helene, where all these people in North Carolina, were cut off from food, water, supplies, anything that they could do to get by until help got there. And you had pilots that were being threatened by the federal government with arrest for trying to help those people out. Greg was one of them. He was a helicopter pilot. He had his helicopter license, and actually in his later on days here as in retirement, he would fly NASCAR teams from point A to point B and other people that could afford to fly privately. But he, even with the threat of being arrested, basically gave them the come and get me attitude and was very instrumental in getting food, water, generators, other supplies up into the mountains where those people had been written off by our government. He was a humanitarian, not just an old retired race car driver. So tonight, hold your kids a little bit closer. The people you love, your significant others, your wives, your husbands, whoever means the most to you in this world, hold them a little bit tighter tonight. Let them know you love them. And take a minute to say some prayers for Greg's family, his wife's family. I know it's been all over the news, and I know people are probably already getting tired of hearing about it, but you're going to hear it one more time from me. For those of you that don't know, Greg, his wife, his two children, term we use in law enforcement, tender age children, the pilot of the plane and 2 others lost their lives in a plane crash in Statesville, North Carolina. Today, Thursday. Like I said, you're seeing this Friday morning. But this has ripped a huge hole in the hearts of a lot of people. Greg touched a lot of lives, even if it was just for 5 minutes. And it's a painful reminder that life is short. Grab and hold on to every minute you can. And again, let everybody that you love know it. And I know this isn't one of my typical videos today. I just can't. It's literally taking me right now. It's 10 minutes after 10 at night, Thursday night. It's literally taken me 6 hours to get up the courage to do this video today. I know usually I'm very cheerful, laughing, joking around, making silly voices, and I just can't. Greg, we love you. We're going to miss you. Godspeed, brother.